Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. A video that started off this morning as a different build for the diatom filter. The old one works just great, but I have a couple of clients that have some specific situations that need to be met. First off, the filter can't hang on the outside of the tank because of traffic issues and other things. And also, there's no room above the aquarium for it. So I have to build one that's not too obtrusive and also is going to fit inside the aquarium. And I had settled down this morning. I got the bits and pieces that I needed for it, and I was planning out how to put it together when I got a phone call 8:30 this morning saying a client, one who was supposed to be available last Thursday for me to set everything up for them. Well, in fairness to the young lady who I was meeting with, she was getting married on the weekend, and I don't think this was really a high priority for her. So it didn't work out. We didn't manage to get together, and she got busy with other stuff. And we ended up talking after the meeting and everything, and she said that she would hook up with one of her other co-workers and say for them to give me a call, and we made arrangements and all that sort of stuff. They're supposed to call me and then make arrangements for getting in and doing the work. Well, that was the call at 8:30 this morning, but they expected that I was going to be showing up for 9:30, and this is just like a refresher, whatever you want to call it, just a reminder saying, okay, everything's all set, and we're all ready for you. So I had to drop what I was doing. Fortunately, it was not another client, and I went and did that. But the problem is the client is in a hospital, and I'm not sure where you guys are, but where I am, there is an awful lot of protocols that one must follow to get into a hospital with all the COVID and everything else. So this job, which should have taken, I figured when I was, pre-COVID, this would have been a 45-minute to hour-and-a-half job. I mean, it's not that big a job. Anyway, it took all morning. It was from that 8:30 morning phone call, prepping all the materials I needed, getting there, getting the job done. It was afternoon, which is fine. I mean, I still had it the afternoon to do this, do the diatom filter build. So after I dropped my son off at work and picked my wife up, I started to get settling into that. And then I get another phone call. And this phone call was from another client, and one that's the tank's in actually good shape. Believe it or not, actually this aquarium here, the owner thought the glass was a little green, and well, I wanted to come out and check on it anyway because of this particular. I mean, I was beginning to get the feeling I wasn't going to get the diatom filter build done anyway, so I wanted to see how this filter was doing. So I went in and checked on it. It was just a bit of algae in the glass. It took 10 minutes, but conversation always takes up much longer than the actual work. So by the time I got home, it was time to pack in any hope of getting the diatom filter, at least not doing it any kind of justice. So I have some of the parts done, but I decided because of the circumstances, I would show you this instead. If you remember a little while ago, I had put together a few of Cichlid proof underground filters, and I had installed one on this tank. This is now, I think, try to remember, 3 weeks ago? I'm not sure. I'd have to check up on the videos. It wasn't actually that long ago. And I wanted to put one in here because this is an African cichlid tank. They have lots of gravel. They have a nice dominant male who likes to dig lots of holes. So it was a perfect test for this filter. So I'm gonna, as you can see, I'm installing it here now. And the biggest problem with installing underground filters of this style, or actually any style really for that matter, in an existing aquarium is what you see now. It gets very murky. So, and the other problem I've noticed is you see what I'm doing here. It gets difficult to see what you're doing, but the underground filter has to sit flat on the glass. You don't want anything between the bottom of the filter and the glass of the tank. And that's the issue I'm having currently right now, trying to get this to fit in here. I'm ending up with just a few pieces of gravel here, and it's just getting a little annoying. And I will gradually, as this progresses, get that straightened out. But yeah, I mean, as far as these filters go, I've installed 2 currently in tanks, and I actually really like them, but there is an issue. The issue is not so much with the underground filter part, It is to do with that lid. That lid is sitting on the right that you see above the aquarium right now. Not so much in this particular aquarium, but in the other installation I did, there was it is set up so that there's an awful lot of knickknacks in the tank. The client, whenever someone would go away, gradually encouraged that they would, bring back something, some little souvenir, and he would put it in the aquarium, which is fine for the first couple of years, but that's been going on now for over 20 years, and you can't get to the bottom of the tank anymore. So I had to pretty much pull everything out of the aquarium. And then it took, after the install for the filter, it took, I think, about 3 big gravel vacuums just to get all the stuff that was sitting underneath all of those knickknacks and all the rocks to use as shelves, so that everyone could go and see their little knickknack. It took a little bit extra effort, and I found that that particular plate there, in that situation specifically, was getting in the way. I couldn't lift it up, so I mean, with all that sediment that was being stirred up constantly, it was getting to the point where the underground filter would actually plug up, which is unheard of, really, especially in such a short period of time. But again, there was so much material in the water. And there's also some other situation that I found. I wasn't going to actually leave this for another video, but when there's a lot of construction nearby, I find that they shake up the pipes. I don't know if you noticed this where you live, but if there's either road construction, or in this particular case, they're stripping down a mall and building, instead of having a mall, they're going to have other buildings, and you end up with a brown water. And when that gets dumped into the aquarium, periodically you have to, because, I mean, you can't haul water for everybody. It ends up causing a certain amount of a different kind of mulm, which is a little thicker, and they're having a bit of issue with that as well. And the combination was plugging up the filter, so I had to take the plate out and leave very, very firm instructions not to cover up with their knickknacks the area where the filter was. I eventually got all straightened out, and I'll probably show you footage of that tank coming up, and you'll see they only could manage to fit in half of the knickknacks that they had before and still have room for the filtration system and everything else. Anyway, this is getting pretty close to being done. Like I said, I had to set this up, and I think I did 2 gravel vacuums afterwards, and the final footage of this is going to show you how it's all running and everything. I really like how it turned out. I'm not sure, I'm not convinced on the necessity for those plates. I find, especially in this particular tank here, the male likes to dig in a specific spot under that rock you can almost see, and if I position that far enough away from the underground filter, he actually doesn't really interact with it at all. But I want to try the lids out for a little bit longer, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's possible that they're not even necessary for this, but then again, you can end up with a fish saying, hey, that's an interesting place, and you don't really want that to happen either. So this is almost done. I'm just fitting the lid on here. I'm making sure everything's, as you see, I'm jiggling it back and forth, trying to make sure everything's settled properly, and then I'm going to scoop gravel on top of that. By that point, it's almost impossible to see, so I'm going to end the footage of that there now. And this is what the tank looked like 2 gravel vacuums later. And as you can see, the water's crystal clear. It's about a week and a half, 2 weeks at this point. And the Nubius plant, which is kind of interesting, sent out 4 new leaves, which is kind of neat. And as you can see, I think this filter is working really well. I will do an update on it in about 6 months to let you know if anything different is happening with it. But I don't really expect anything odd. But then again, you never know with these things. So anyway, if you like this style of video, even though this was definitely not what I had in mind, please like and or subscribe. Definitely leave me comments below as to what you think of this. And as you can see, I left a little bit of the rim of the filter exposed so you can see it. And like I said, we'll see how this goes. I don't really have any issue with it, but you know, you never know as these things age, so we'll see then. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.